I started training in the martial arts about 1978 or 79, so I've been doing this for a little while. I have a particular interest in most things related to the martial arts and safety, and became a defensive tactics instructor for law enforcement in 1993, just after the police academy. So I'm not new to this, and one of the things that's really started to bother me lately is seeing on the news these knockout games. I'm not the first person to want to put a video out and talk about it, but I want to discuss probably the most important thing is there's nothing that I can show you on a video. I'm not going to be able to teach you how to fight back in a matter of a couple minutes. But what I can do is talk to you about one of the most important things you can do to help keep yourself safe from the knockout game. If you're not familiar with what it is, basically bands of teenagers, men, there's a guy who's like 34 that came up and struck a 78-year-old woman in New York and knocked her out. And so the game, knockout game, aptly named because that's what they do. They have this rather deprived game where they go around and hurt people. Can't for the life of me figure out why somebody would do that. That just strikes me as pure depravity. Anyways, point is that Jeff Cooper, who's a colonel in the military, was very, very accustomed to combat. He spent multiple tours, and what he learned from his various experiences are that people generally are walking through life in a variety of stages of awareness. The first is code white. You can equate that code white or condition white to being sort of like white noise. It's going on in the background, but you're not really paying attention to it. And life can be like that. You can go through life and not pay attention to what's going on. I'll give you a great example. You're driving your vehicle, you're on your way to the store, on your way to school, or on your way to work, and you get to your exit, and you're like, wait a second, how the heck did I get to my exit? Or you just pass your exit altogether. You completely space out, right? You daydream or whatever it is that's going on in your life that preoccupies your time, and so you have no situational awareness. So for me, I think that is the sort of the epitome of what victims are generally. They become victimized quite easily because they don't know what's going on. That's not all cases, and I'm not blaming the victims. What I'm saying is you can be less likely of a victim, be less likely to be a victim, that is, if you're not in condition white when you leave your home. It's really the only place that you can be where you are relatively safe. You have, if you're smart, you have layers of protection. You lock your door, you have an alarm on, you have a dog at your feet, you have a Glock within proximity or whatever your particular weapon is. And that's pretty important. So being aware is probably the most important thing you can do to survive an attack, okay? And the next color in that stage is yellow. Think about it, yellow is the brightest color out there. It really gets your attention. Condition yellow means that you have a general sense of awareness where you're paying attention to what's going on. That's called situational awareness. So important because if you're more aware, you're less likely to be victimized. It's harder for people to sneak up on you. It's harder for people to actually make contact with you. And ask any criminal who's done this kind of thing. Ask any criminal who's involved in violent attacks, and there's 1.8 million of them last year in this country. They're going to tell you that they're looking for people who aren't paying attention. They're looking at their phone, they're looking at their feet as they're walking, they're listening to their MP3 player, whatever it is they're doing, but they're not paying attention to the potential victim, or the potential, assailant. And that assailant, if you recognize them, that brings you into condition orange, the next condition. And what condition orange is this sense that you've actually got a focal point. Now, you don't have that in condition yellow, and you certainly don't have that in condition white. Now, people will tell you these conditions in a variety of ways, but this is how we teach it. In condition orange, you recognize a potential threat, and then you take action to avoid it. You take action to keep yourself safe. That may mean if a car is careening down the road driving crazy, you don't continue to stay in its path. If you're driving on the highway and somebody's doing that, you back off. If somebody's walking at you and they're menacing you, they're giving you that look like something's going to go wrong, you walk across the street, you beeline. That's critically important to get away from the circumstance. Don't keep going. Trust your gut. If your gut says to you, don't do this, don't do it, because it's the number one thing that you have to protect yourself. And finally, condition red is you're in the fight. You're actually now actively taking a role in protecting yourself for the life of another. You're helping yourself stay safe by fighting back. And that may mean that you're actually biting and kneeing and punching and screaming and yelling or whatever that happens to be. You're not going to learn that on this video. But you don't want to end up in condition black, and condition black is the antithesis of condition white. You may be in the fight, but you have no clue what's going on. You have no idea. In fact, you might not be able to even tell me what happened afterwards. Now, some people use condition black differently, but that's how we use condition black. It is a blackout, if you will. We don't want you there either. So the way that you can help yourself is be aware and get proper training.